I think they're taking the tropes of cinema from the 1970s, like Taxi Driver and stuff like that, you know, and kind of putting them on steroids here.
Welcome to the Continental.
Preséntanos el mundo de The Continental.
Well, it's a pretty strange place. It's a world unto itself. A kind of half fantasy, but mostly kind of super violent, and where absurd in a sense, you know, because there's restrictions and rules attached to the abode that happen, I suppose, in clubs, but in this case, it's hyperactive. It's to an extreme.
¿Cómo introducen al público a este mundo?
I think what makes an action film work is if you become involved with the protagonists to a degree, and you know, you have to hiss the villains and cheer the good guys, or the other way around. Are there any good guys?
Cuéntanos sobre tu personaje Cormac. ¿Cómo se relaciona con Winston y Karen?
Well, he's kind of like their mentor, I guess, or actually mentor or tormentor. I'm not sure which, but he's he's rather a nefarious character who's like a father figure to them, and they perceive him that way when they're young, but as they grow and begin to analyze who he really is, they realize he's probably not their, you know, the father figure he pretends to be. He's pretty selfish in his own motives, and kind of has used them in an ill way, and I think they're burned by that, and they want to get even, rightly so.
¿Qué significa la prensa de monedas para Cormac?
You need the coin press to exist in this world, I guess. If you haven't got that kind of currency, you know, the whole situation falls apart. It's very important that he have this thing. It's kind of like a MacGuffin. It's like, I don't know what you call it. But he doesn't have it, or it's gone. It's been stolen. And, you know, things, you know, the music of the spheres will be off until he gets it back. And he's quite aware of that. In fact, it might even be the end of him if he doesn't get it back. So he's feeling that sort of pressure.
Cuéntanos sobre Nueva York en los 70s, donde se desarrolla la serie.
It was pretty skeevy back then in the 70s, you know? In fact, it may have even been kind of darker and sort of had more of an underworld then than it does now. I was actually born in New York, but not the city. I lived in the country, but I went to the city one time, and I remember having to wash the soot out of my nostrils from one day. I think they're taking the tropes of cinema from the 1970s, like Taxi Driver and stuff like that, you know, and kind of putting them on steroids here, so that it's amped up somewhat, hyper real, you know, and of course, you know, this character, he's kind of, I think he's New York Irish and probably some kind of a mobster. So he's probably about 3 or 4 generations in.
¿Cómo influyen la ambientación y el estilo en el tono de la película?
It's kind of like noir, and the sets are almost gothic, you know, in a way, and the clothes are a little over the top, you know. Like, I mean, this is a very nice suit, but it's almost like from the 1920s, and just the things required from dialogue, acting, attitude. There's a lot of cynicism and dark. You know, there's a dark underbelly to the psyche of most of the characters. It's very important to a lot of very dangerous people. If you don't retreat, I'll bring the weight of this whole institution down on you both.